Hola, amigos, and welcome to Keyframers. I'm your host, Stephen Shaw.
And I'm your host, David Khourshid.
Together, we are the animated collaborative coding live stream where we bring imaginative user interfaces to life. And we are coding compadres, animation amigos, boolean buddies, and keyframe companions.
Yes, we are a live stream. We'll be creating
Always
an animation from scratch live using HTML, CSS, and a little bit of JavaScript. So, as always, we are happy to answer any questions that you may have. So please reach out in the chat or the comments.
Yes, and today is going to be a fun one. We covered a bit. Sorry, hold on. Getting my windows in order here. We covered a lot of flipping stuff last week, and we've done that many times on the show before. And it's because it's such a great technique. Let's take a look. So today's animation is called Card Animation by Maria, and it's relatively straightforward. You've got a list of cards. You click one, it expands. That's a couple lines of CSS and you're done. But
right.
The real trick is, we've got this actual layout change. We have expanding content, and so there's
two things moving. Also, check out the image. I know the card expands, but the image actually becomes bigger too. So we have sort of this double whammy going on.
Yeah, there's definitely a difference in the card state and the expanded state, other than just the hidden content. So yeah, there's definitely some interesting stuff happening there.
Yeah, I think we can reuse our small flipping function that we used last time.
Yes, so. I liked it so much that I made it a little keyboard expansion here. Xflip, boom.
Did you?
Xflip, yes.
Nice. It's
so
like Xdate, but for flipping.
So. Right. Yeah, it's all essentially what we used in the last episode, which was really awesome. That one turned out great. What do we call it? That was tile and list flip. That was a very good one. You should go back and check out. It'll help inform a lot of what we're doing here. But basically, the flip technique: first, last, invert, play. A little acronym there where we record the initial state, we change something and record the last state. We invert that so that the last state looks like the first state, and then we play an animation, kind of removing that inversion. But we've talked about this technique a lot. We've used it a lot, and we've kind of distilled down to this nice little CSS variable function that's just maybe 30 lines of JavaScript with the main function, if even that, and then even the CSS we've gotten for most of the basic transitions down to just a few lines. So this is a super cool approach and a very performant approach to making complex layout changes. And so yeah, we're gonna dive into it again for this little card transition.
Yep. So I'm just adding some basic HTML over here, trying to be semantic. See how far that gets me.
Yes. Okay, so the articles are the cards.
Right? Yes.
Okay, so let's.
Man, do I love this Emmet. I couldn't imagine not using Emmet. That's why, honestly, there's all of these things in CodePen like Pug and Haml and whatever, where you could, write succinct HTML, and it is compiled to HTML. But honestly, I really like working directly with HTML and just having it there, which actually just gave me a brilliant idea. If you're watching on the live stream, feel free to steal this idea. But Emmet for CSS nesting, Ooh. That way, that sort of obviates the need for Sass, at least for me. I use Sass a lot for the nesting.
That is one of the main advantages there.
And I guess we'll call each of these articles .card. So class equals card. We like to name things nice and semantic. Maybe we'll do a Tailwind episode, but for now we'll stick with semantic. Whatever. If you'd like to see a Tailwind episode, then let us know.
Then reach out to a different live stream and
yeah, let us know. I mean, we might not do it, but let us know and we'll be like, yeah, that is an idea. It is one of many ideas. Thank you for your idea. Okay, I'm just gonna make this a solid black border, make it white, and man, do we need this centered. So let me just think darn, what was that? I think there's like
display grid, place items, center,
but is it display grid or
Yep.
That works. Okay, wow, that is the easiest way to vertically and horizontally center things in CSS, and it's pretty beautiful.
Yes. And for our app, we could even display grid and just use grid gap to help out a little bit.
And so keep in mind, right now we are doing this just not even worrying about how it's going to be animated. We're just writing the HTML like we normally would. And then we're going to show you how we could tack on just the flip technique to, I was about to say flipping, as if my next version of the library was out already, but it's not. So
one of these days. Yes.
Hard figure, and then this is let's find a good image.
Yeah. So if you open up assets, you can go down to free design assets and search. Let's see if there's.
I don't want free. I'm a developer. I like paying for things.
Oh, okay. Well, please go ahead and
and pay.
Yes.
Let's see. Free.
Fun illustration.
Unsplash.
Yeah. Little Unsplash integration there.
All right. Are you choosing?
I'm looking for one.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. Why not this one? Looks pretty good.
What font size are you using? That is pretty small.
Is it small on the screen?
At least I mean, in my screen it's small.
All right. Got it bumped up here. Card. Make sure we do image mix width 100%. And then card figure. One of the weird things about figure is the default margin on it. That always throws me for a loop.
I mean, a lot of things, just a really weird default margin. Oh, another trick I learned, and I don't know if this is only Chrome or whatever. I noticed that you're adding margins before you go to. Oh, you're adding grid anyway. Yep, grid gap. Now, I was gonna say if we decide to use flex, we could do flex direction column, and just have gap 1 rem. So you could do like flex direction column. That doesn't work. Darn. Direction column gap 1 rem, and yep, everything is still the same.
Yeah. Yeah, so, that's super helpful. I'm so glad that gap is now an option for Flexbox, but check your browser support because that may vary.
I think it's at least the Evergreen browsers support it. I could be wrong, but that is in the spec. So.
I think it's pretty much everywhere by now.
Right. All right. So as far as our app is also background color white. So I'll go ahead and do that. And we do have some padding on that as well. The more I use grid, the more that, I use padding to sort of, obviously have this padding around the content, but sometimes when you're trying to do things with both keeping it within the padding and then doing this full bleed, you remember the hacks you had to do for full bleed, like negative margin and doing calc on the width just to make sure that it goes beyond that 100%. I've started just representing the padding on the edges as grid lines. And that way, I don't know, that way you could do your full bleed and everything without having to do all of those hacks. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's an idea. But
Yeah.
we don't have to do that here because everything is within the padding.
Yeah, I like it. Oh, sorry.
So
Question in the
Danielle,
chat. What time is it there, David? What time is it?
it is it's 5:17 p.m.
Hey, look at that.
Eastern. 17:17 if you have a reasonable standard of telling time.
Ah, yes. I've never been able to adapt to 24-hour clock time, but I sure do appreciate the lack of AM PM.
And so Shaw is at 4:17.
Yes. Or 16, 17.
And for everyone else, it's Monday.
Well, maybe not everywhere. Let's see.
A quarter till Tuesday. All right, so general idea for this, we are going to be changing this data attribute on the top of our app. Right now we have data state equals collapsed. Do you say data or data, by the way? I've never been...
Data. Yeah.
Is it? I'm Googling this. Is it data?
I think that's another GIF, GIF rabbit hole.
All right. So the correct way to say data, according to the Online Cambridge Dictionary and Merriam-Webster Dictionary, is data, like day. Okay, cool. So I'm right most of the time with regard to that pronunciation.
Jean-Luc Picard would agree with you.
All right, but anyway, we are changing that data state attribute from I just have it as collapsed or expanded just because that sort of describes what we're doing here. And so when we're in the collapsed data state and you see all of these cards, the idea is that you don't see the paragraphs inside. So yeah,
right.
We have that data flip. You already added that there. Did you add the JavaScript?
I have it at the top, just like a basic setup for it, but we can kind of walk through it.
Okay, because I could copy pasta the flip stuff.
Yeah, well the flip function is at the bottom there. So lapp.
Oh, you already have it.
Yeah, so we'll do
cool.
L cards here. We'll do query selector all dot card within lapp, and then those flippers we don't need right now, but basically what we can do is let's see, those cards, make that consistent. So los cards for each card. We want to add event listener. Let's see, just move that. And this is, just real simple state management kind of thing. While I'm setting this up in the chat, Devin asks, read some poor scroll performance experiences with using grid as your full layout system. Have you experienced this, David?
Have I? Sorry, let me read that again. So, read some poor scroll performance with using grid. Have you experienced this? So we have not, or at least I haven't experienced this that much, and that's because mostly I do a sprinkling of grid. You don't want to use it for absolutely everything, but if you are having poor scroll performance experience, that could just be that you have a lot of content. I'd be curious to know which browser this is occurring in or where you actually read that. Probably some nice thought piece article, but I am interested in reading that.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that when it originally comes out, there's potentially scroll performance issues or issues with cross-browser compatibility and all that kind of stuff. But over time, those things smooth out as well. Let's see.
Yeah, the paragraphs are hidden.
Right, so we'll want to say L card. Let's see. L card data set dot.
Oh, you're basically toggling this active.
Yeah, that's just the old code.
So we want to say,
Let's see. Right, and then we can use open. Wait, collapsed, right?
I have expanded.
Expanded, sure.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just be consistent. Expanded. And
yes. All right, and you see it opens and closes, or at least right now it
yeah, it shows the content. Okay, so that's good. You added a little CSS in there.
Yep. And actually the CSS well, for whatever reason, it only happens once. It goes expanded, collapsed, and then it doesn't go again.
Yeah.
What's happening there?
Good question. So L card, add event listener, click, expanded. If it's open.
You know, let's just do this. Don't worry, this will work.
Will it?
I know it's more verbose, but it doesn't work.
Not working.
That equals L card. If it's collapsed, then go to expanded. Otherwise, go to oh. Sorry, misspelled that.
Okay.
Yeah. TypeScript would actually not have caught that, but you know, I just like to plug TypeScript. All right, so now it's going opening, closing, opening, closing. So, can you guess how I did that in the CSS?
I don't want to.
No. It's actually it's a tiny bit more complicated than the mess that we were doing a year ago, which was, you know, app data state equals this, and then drill down into the p tag. And instead, I am just setting a CSS variable. So I'm not doing the whole, you know, the crazy hack that we did, or it's not crazy, you know, the whole prop and log technique. I'm just being explicit about display content. So I'm setting a flag here, or it's not even really a flag. I'm just giving it that display property saying, hey, when collapsed, don't display content. And so whatever needs that can use that variable for the display property.
Right.
That's just yeah.
Right. So basically with the way CSS variables work, the second value here is just kind of a default. So if there's no CSS variable value for display content, it will default to block. Otherwise, it's going to take whatever that variable's value is. So that's a nice, succinct way to do kind of a simple prop and lock. I like that. Okay, let me get back in the JavaScript here and see if we can get this working, because this will be needed. Data set open equals data set expanded and expanded. I don't think that necessarily matters, but yeah, it only works once. Let me see. Let's open up debug mode in another tab, and of course, doesn't open up. Let's get it in a.
So Daryl says, sitting in my basement since March. I have no idea what day it is. You know what? I used to actually get really annoyed at my Google Assistant whenever I asked it what day it was, expecting the dates, like today's the 17th or today's the 4th. It would tell me what day of the week it was. Like today's Tuesday. It's like, okay, Google, I haven't been in a coma for 2 months. Like, I know what day it is. I just want to know what date it is. But now I'm actually really thankful that it does tell me the day, because I do forget now.
Okay.
And actually, I thought it was still November. So
the issue here, showing what's happening. So the card with let's see, with the data expanded attribute, if we're doing that, it goes from false and true, or true, from nothing to true and then to false. But false as like a string is still technically true. So let's see.
So don't use
expanded.
Booleans. Just don't use Booleans. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Okay. So what's your
what if we ever have more than two states? Then
So data set state equals expanded.
There you go. And then that will work. Just kidding, it doesn't. Well, if it's expanded, then
it's oh yeah, it needs to be reversed there, huh? Right.
Okay, there we go.
All right, so if it's expanded, we want to collapse it. Otherwise, we're expanding. So that should work. Let me save and refresh on debug mode here.
So why isn't it closing though?
Yeah. So if it is expanded.
Same thing over here. This should be LF.
No. We want L card.
Oh, I see what you're doing. You know what? I'm just going to hands off here. I thought like we were literally just expanding the first card, but we're doing both. So
right.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, and so we'll need logic here, like los cards for each L card dot data set state equals collapsed. Basically, we're closing all the other cards, and then that should work. Whoa, what'd you do to the?
Add some overflow Y. There we go.
Okay, so we need to adjust this data state collapsed. Yeah, so the prop and lock there we gotta adjust.
That's not a prop and lock.
It's ish.
Oh, okay. So you wanted to only apply to the card. That's easy enough. Just take that out of there and then
just move it. Yeah, move it down into the actual card. There.
Oh, well, I deleted. I didn't Command X.
Can copy it?
So this would be data expanded or whatever you call it.
No, data state collapsed. We want it to be
okay
like that because it's just applying to the card itself. It's not.
Gotcha.
Applying.
Okay. Well, it looks like that works.
Cool. Okay. Awesome.
So what also happens is that when you click the card and it's expanded, that expanded card actually takes up the full app, really. So here we have data state equals expanded, and that's going to, see, now I wish we were using grid, but we could say position absolute.
We do. I mean, we can easily convert to grid. The app itself is grid. So.
Oh, and also we need to Z index.
Yeah.
1. I have two modes with Z index. I either am very conservative and go 1 or 2, or I'm very like 99999.
Yeah. In the chat, Devin asks, I have a coworker who reaches for GSAP even for very small things. How can I sell them on the powers of CSS? David, I'm sure you have some opinions here.
Okay, GSAP is great for certain things. Honestly, just point to the bundle size. You have 100 kilobyte library, which they say, oh no, 100 kilobytes isn't that bad because Google caches it or whatever. But the point is, there's a lot of things that are built into the browser that you really don't need a full animation library for. And even things where you do need dynamic animations, you could use a Web Animations API or even just tack on some JavaScript values to CSS variables for. You really don't need a full big animation library for that. However, there are things that GSAP makes easier. The point of learning GSAP and, just using it in an app is knowing when to use it and for what situations you're using it for. I've seen people use GSAP for things like changing the background color and position of a button when you hover over it by doing something on mouse over. It's like, no, just use hover, use a CSS transition, and you're golden. Basically, stick GSAP save GSAP for the really, really powerful stuff, not for the stuff that you don't necessarily need. And I would definitely point them to just stuff that we're doing, right? I wouldn't say that the animations we do are simple. And if we could accomplish all these simple animations with either no JavaScript or a tiny sprinkle of JavaScript, and by tiny sprinkle, I mean right now we're at what, 30, 40 lines, 50 maybe, then that's really all you need.
Yeah, I agree for the most part. Like, GSAP is such an amazing tool, and it helps out in a lot of ways. It even beyond just what a typical JavaScript animation library is going to do. So it is a valuable tool. Don't discount that. But the majority of the time, if you can accomplish it with CSS in a simple and efficient way, it's going to be much more performant. It should be easier to maintain, but that can kind of go both ways on it. Some of the things that GSAP smooths out and helps, can become really complex if you're doing it CSS only, especially in regards to SVG and all of that. But pick your battles. If you can show them some concrete examples of how it can be accomplished with CSS, or show them some stuff like we do, but cleaner examples since we're always pressed for time, then that's a great way to showcase that for them.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, there are some things that GSAP really, really excels at. SVG animations, honestly, I would say anytime you're working with SVG, you might want to reach for a library like GSAP, just because there's so many confusing things with animating SVG that you really want a library that just excels at that out of the box. And GSAP is that library for that. So yeah.
Did you change something here?
I did.
Uh-oh.
Sort of. Wait, why isn't...
Yeah, I don't...
So I added a BG to the card,
okay.
Just so that we could animate that.
Okay.
But that's affecting some things.
It is.
I have it hide 100% with 100%. So yeah, just your typical background element. But we don't even have that background element on the card. That would probably be why.
Oh, okay.
But let me just throw that in there.
Ah, yes.
Probably be useful.
Yes. Okay.
And so now we could target that instead of the card. Oh, you put data flip on the card.
Yep.
Is that intentional?
Yeah. I assume you have a different idea.
No. But so when we apply the animation, so right now we're applying this like transform translates to everything that has data flipping, I guess. But we want to apply that to the background. So
well, right. We'll have the variables available for the background if we apply.
But right now we are applying it to the full card. So how do we undo that?
How do we undo what? Sorry.
So right now the entire card's moving.
Right. Which we do want because the content itself needs to move and settle in place.
Okay. I think I got you.
Yeah. And so that is all handled. So yeah, before we get any further, let me just explain a little bit. So we've got the for every card, if you click a card it triggers our flip function, which we pass in the value of this function, which changes a card from expanded to collapsed and gives that state on the app as well. It also removes that from any of the other cards should they be in a different state. And we're passing in all the elements, these los flippers, that have the data flip attribute. And so these are elements that are going to get CSS variables applied to them whenever this flip function is called here. So those CSS variables again, dx, dy, dw, dh, dx, difference in x position, dy, difference in y position, dw, difference in width as like a percentage decimal kind of deal, and dh, difference in height. The same deal for height. So for all the data flip elements, they have a transition of transform, and when they have the attribute data flipping, which is only applied for one frame, there's no transition, and we apply this transform, which inverts the position of it. So that's where we get that. Can you fix the background of that other card? I gave it a CSS variable, but I'm not sure why it's not working.
Do we have a background element on it?
Oh, we don't actually have the BG, so that's, yeah, thank you. All right, so that helps there. All right. So you can already see that this is like the basic movement of that of what we have in the animation itself. So this, will work. Like it's not everything we want, but for just a few lines of JavaScript and CSS, like that's really powerful. So now we're kind of getting into more of the specifics of like how can we reveal this content and transition everything in a really nice way. So yeah, let's go there. Do that. Okay, which one?
I think it's clip path here. It's not exactly doing what I wanted to do. I might be doing something wrong.
You're approaching it with clip path. That's good.
Yep.
Yes. So card figure. Let's do a transition. Just try that.
What's nice about this flipping approach too is you could manually add these like data flipping attributes and see what happens. So it's still not doing what I want to do. Yeah, for whatever reason, the clip path is just not animating. Oh, I think it's because something is overriding that the transform. That's probably the easiest explanation of what's happening. Yeah, something is overriding that. I'm going to important, which is a terrible idea, but I just want to see something working. Ha 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 ha, yes, it works. Right now, obviously, it doesn't look right because I'm just hard coding like 10%.
Oh, okay. Let's take a look.
Yeah, but this should actually be a calc. So we're going to change this to calc, and we have that dh variable available. It's a hard word to say. Variable available. Try saying that 5 times fast. Variable available.
Variable available.
Nope, you can't. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this dh is a value from 0 to 1, and if we multiply that by 100%, then ideally it doesn't work. Well, not ideally, it just doesn't work.
So let's just double check there. Calc var dh. Yeah, I mean that looks right.
Looks like it should work, right?
It does.
So if
are you transitioning that clip path at all? Okay, you do have it. You do have it there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna move this up so that we can override it more easily. There we go. All right. I don't know.
Yeah, it should definitely be that. That should work. So maybe I did not call it DH. I'm starting to doubt myself.
No,
we
it is.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do have a DH. It's just not behaving. So let's do a test. Let's do, if I say .1 for 1/10. So that does work.
Yeah. So
our DH is not working.
Yeah, so let me save, go over here into debug mode and inspect a little bit.
It is defined because it's, it's doing something.
Yeah. So let's see. Right, it is coming through there. Let's see. Hard. Doing a clip path on it. Okay. Why don't you just apply the clip path here? Let's see. It's doing okay. Yeah, it's not doing anything there. State expanded. Gone. Do we need like overflow hidden? No, because it was working.
Okay, actually, yeah, I got an idea. And I think I just need to, should be 1 over DH times. Okay. Please hold. Doing some math.
Getting out a napkin.
Yep. I tend to do that. Anyway, so I think we have to find the inverse. There we go. We have to find the inverse of the height.
Oh.
And then there you go.
Hey, nice.
Yeah. The image looks a little weird, but
yeah, it's snapping a little bit, and I think that's, well, for me it's scroll bars. Let me say scroll to keep those scroll bars in place. And that not helping too much. Yeah, so I didn't actually give like data flip or anything to the image itself, which might be helpful. All I'm doing there is transitioning the scale, which is, really all that should be needed. I think it's, what it is the width of the element is changing.
Okay, yeah. And that's why I'm saying we might want to do the background technique on the, the actual background. So go ahead and apply those. Where are magical transforms for flipping stuff?
It's up line 44-ish.
Yeah. Okay. Copy pasta time. Actually, I'm gonna cheat a little. Okay, that did not work. Actually, no. Wait, it might have worked. It didn't work. Let me see. Okay, so we have the background over here. Let's just make this some terrible color, green.
Ugh.
I know. So ideally, if I say, all right, so transition property. Yeah, this might, all right, experimentation time. Sorry in advance. So I'm going to say clip path. And you put it above so that it properly overrides and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So Now we have our background and we have data flipping BG. So if we actually, yeah, I'm just going to copy this over. So we're going to say, all right, I'm going to name this David's test.
So basically the issue is, so this element is actually expanding. It's changing size, you know, because we have this margin here. So because of that, the layout slightly shifts and this background changes size and all that. What we can do here.
All right, so now the background should be the one animating, but it is not.
Did you give it okay, you have a transition on it.
Maybe my SCSS is wrong, but if I do that, yeah, then okay.
Yeah.
That works. And now now all of the other elements are independent, which is fine. Because we could just we could just target all those, maybe. Or is that too much work?
Well, so I thought you were going to, let's see, because we still need to do like a scale animation for the background. And then, yeah, I mean, position does need to change for those other elements as well. That's why I was doing that on the full thing. I think if we do,
okay, so let's go back to doing it on the full thing.
Right, if we do that on the full thing and do a scale animation on the background, that should meet most of the needs.
All right, so I did that, and Shaw's adding back that transform and clip path. Okay, so let's start from there. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I was trying is increasing the padding when going to expanded, but that doesn't specifically work. Yeah, that's better. Okay. All right. So on our BG here, we want to transition, transform. 1 second, and then data state collapsed. Let's see, BG, that's collapsed. It's expanded. Data flipping. Okay, so we'll just do and data flipping. BG, and we'll say transition none. Transform scale. All right, so got to get out our trusty friend calc here, and we'll do var dw. Is it 1 divided by dw?
Yeah.
Okay. And then we'll do the same, but for dh, and this should help our background transition. But we do need to say transform origin top left. That's pretty important there. Nice. Okay. And
cool.
Yeah, we'll say radius rem. And do you remember the border radius math off the top of your head?
I have the thing pulled up.
Well, please copy paste that around line 75.
Okay.
I should add that to my expansion.
Yeah. Or we should just make a library around this. Either or. Okay. So do we have a var radius? I'm getting used to the var thing instead of var.
Yes, there's a var radius.
Okay, and so that's for the card. So
line 75-ish.
Just kidding. Where is 75? There we go. Okay, yeah. So we have this. Probably wrong.
Okay, nice. Okay.
I'm guessing it's this one.
Yes. So I'll move this up. Transition property. There we go.
Hey, radius, the keyboard shortcuts work again.
Yes, I got that fixed.
Yeah. Someone got yelling at.
No yellings. Okay,
so let's get rid of that ugly green.
Yeah, so the image itself, I feel like we need data flip on because the position of it is like the size of it is shifting. I mean, we could do the I guess the scale animation would still work, right?
For what?
For the image, the card figure.
Yeah.
All right, so let's say
probably
card data flipping position none scale like that. Let's see. No, I think we do need to apply data flip to the image itself to give us the actual image size change. Let's do 8, and we'll do transform scale bar scale, and then here we can say scale.
What did you have for if they're expanded? Is it just data expanded, or is it actually a data state equals? Oh, it is. State equals expanded. It's just form trans wide, like 100%. Okay, so the other card does not have flipping on it, but that's okay.
It does. It should.
Oh, it does?
It should.
Okay. Really? Because it's not moving anywhere.
Huh.
It's not smoothly moving anywhere, rather.
It seems to be for me.
Oh, okay. I guess I just need a hard refresh.
Let's see. Yeah, that seems to be doing well. Okay.
So basically, yeah, I don't know why I'm not seeing that, but I pushed the other card down by doing transform translate Y, like just 100%, and it's not going anywhere. Or I don't know if it's not going anywhere.
Well, so probably what's happening there is the data flipping transform is overriding.
Oh, okay.
Because because the actual position of it is changing because of the position absolute bit. So let's see. Right. Let's see.
I add some more lorem ipsum just because I appreciate it a lot. It's a very good Latin text.
I feel like our animations are not in sync. Yeah, you're transitioning background very fast. Yeah, this is one of those things we need a more standardized way to do it.
Yeah, I'm also not sure what's making the what was I going to ask? Oh, making the horizontal overflow just showed that scroll bar.
I added scroll to app there. You can set that to auto, whatever. Okay, so transition property, that transition property, okay, that should help. Okay, but let's speed that up. Okay, and go down here, clean this up.
That. Adding a box shadow instead, it's a little bit nicer.
It is. Any good examples of flip with React? As a matter of fact, we have a whole playlist full of various instances of using flip, and we do have some that include React. So there's a playlist link in the chat. I'm gonna check that out. Okay, where did you do the offsetting? Did you do that anywhere? Like the translate Y deal?
Yeah, I just did translate Y 100% somewhere. I don't remember where.
Ah, there it is. Okay, card, not data state expanded. Okay. Yeah, let's see. Oh.
So yeah, one thing that I was thinking about in my flipping library as I was working on it was flips within flips. So just this idea of like, especially for this example, Shaw wanted to add more padding around the card as it expanded. And so that meant that the inner content was flipping relative to the outer content, which was also being flipped. And yeah, that is as confusing as it sounds. But yeah, it's a good use case, and that requires a lot more work than whatever we're doing. So that's why I wanted to bake that into the library.
Yeah, that's definitely definitely helpful.
Yeah, it'll come soon.
Let's just say I'm trying something here to see if that helps with the does not. Okay. Oh. Just remove that for now. We're gonna need to reach a stopping point here in a minute, so
Okay. Yeah, I think we're in a almost there, except things are a bit choppy.
Yeah, so let's see. The seems like the okay, so part of the issue is the other card is changing in layout, and I don't know that our flip transform is technically helping with that. Let me just do opacity 0.5 here so we can see that. See the oh, we've got a compiling error somewhere.
Was it me?
Oh no, it was me. Yeah.
What's with the opacity?
So I'm showing the card underneath, like what's happening with that.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Because its position is changing in the layout there.
I say just transform it down to actually. You know what? I have a better idea. So in the app, or better is relative, but I was going to say if it's not data expanded, I'm not sure what all this offset stuff is, but we could translate. That doesn't work. Transform, translate wide, like literally just 100 viewport height, and see what happens. Like just basically get off the screen. That'll work for the bottom card, but not the top one.
Right. It just doesn't transition itself. Like it just.
Why not?
I don't know.
I wonder why it's not.
Is it? Is it happening in like that exact data flipping frame where there's no transition? That's what I was trying with the CSS variables there, but that wasn't working either. It was just snapping.
Well, that's fine. This might be a parts 2 type of thing.
No, I think we can get it to a decent state.
Yeah.
This is it's one of those things. The actual layout changing is part of the big issue there, and so why is the unexpanded card getting so big, David? Why is that?
I do not know.
If you scroll down, and why is it not in the proper layout position?
Yeah, that's the mysteries of life.
All right, so one thing we need to do is just say display content. If we reload here. Okay, let's take off that opacity here. And let's take off this. Oh. Take off this for now. Just see what's happening. Oh, it's because it was being translated Y off, but why is the size of it changing? Is it our display grid? Line items. Start. Ay. Let's see.
So, yeah, I might be late to this combo, but seems like the card isn't moving anymore.
Like which card isn't moving?
The top one. Or do I need a refresh?
Like
the
yeah, it doesn't seem like that's happening. Let's see, I've removed that. Transition. Let's see, transition. Property. Transform. Let's do that.
Property.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, why isn't that moving anymore? Was before I did
Maybe
that.
just
Oh,
got sick
bar
of
offset.
you got sick of our shenanigans.
There we go. Okay. I
Aha,
had
beautiful.
broken something.
Me?
I had. I'm not blaming you. Don't worry.
That's okay. I'm used to it.
Okay. And that scroll bar is just. I'm gonna leave it for now. There we go. That helps with some of the layout change.
So does this mean if we add that back, will things magically work? Nope.
No. Yeah, I think tackling the other cards is just a whole other deal.
Yeah, true.
For
okay.
now. But I think we can. Let's see. Let's fix the card figure a little bit. Yeah, so we do have the transform origin there. Let's see.
Whoa.
Don't worry about it.
Fun.
Aha. That's better.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, let's do z index 10 and add z index to the transition properties here. And
It's close.
yeah, it's real close. Why is the first one just kind of oh, you still have that on there. Let's remove that for now. Yeah, it's so weird how the how this one's moving position as well.
Yeah. I mean that it's a solvable problem, but it requires a lot more thought and potentially a library.
Right. Yeah, so a lot of this, if we apply like data flip to everything, we could get there, but it needs a bit more setup and everything to get there fully.
Yeah.
Why is the z index not
behaving?
Yeah.
Well, I think so. The z index changes immediately. Right now, I manually add that z index 1, or well, I guess now it's 10.
Yeah. It needs to be more than 1.
Right.
But yeah, I'm just maxing it out there, and I did apply it in the transition. Wait, did I? Nope. The index. There we go. All right, that should help, but it's not. I don't know. Good question. So yeah, I think we need to reach a stopping point here, though, for you. But let's see. Is there anything we're missing at the moment?
Well, yeah, a few things,
lot,
but yeah. But I think for the purposes of this, like, this is at a good point.
Yeah.
I think what we really wanted to highlight here is using clip path with flip.
Yes.
It's called flip path.
Flip path.
But
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we'll talk about clip path there for the expansion. Expanding content with clip path. Yeah, I think that's the main thing to cover. We'll briefly mention what we're doing with data flip there, or just flipping, and yeah, we'll go from there. Okay. So hey, if you're watching live, thanks so much. We appreciate you. Stay with us. We're gonna kind of do a quick summary, talking about the expanding content with clip path. So hang in there. We're doing a little intro thing. We'll cut this out and make it its own video. But hang with us. Hola, amigos, and welcome to Keyframers. I'm Stephen Shaw.
And I'm David Khourshid. And
let's take a quick look at a technique from this card expansion flip animation. We have a overall flip, usual CSS variable technique that we do pretty much everywhere. Whenever you click a card, the app itself is getting an expanded state, and the card gets an expanded state. So it goes either collapsed or expanded. And then we're animating all of that using flip variables, mostly in one spot with this data flip deal here, that attribute. And then we're doing something cool with the expanding background, though. David, why don't you walk us through that a little bit?
Sure. So when we both hide and reveal the paragraph, what's happening in the original animation is that it's essentially being clipped until it fully shows. And what better property to use than clip path? And that's a rhetorical question. You could just use clip path. With clip path, we do have to do a bit of math here. So we have this DH variable that's being provided by our flip function. And that DH tells us what is the difference in height. And that's a number between 0 and 1. And so we could apply the same flip technique for clip path that we do for transform. And the way that we do that is when we're in, when this component has a data flipping data attribute, we take the inverse of that DH. So for example, if the DH is 0.2, then that's going to be 0.8. So basically we're starting at, the first position, and then we're clipping so that it goes to the full position. And so that's what that DH is doing over there. So again, we invert it. So from 0.2 to 0.8 or 0.8 to 0.2, multiply that by 100%. So we get something like 80% or 20%. And so if you could imagine, that polygon is a rectangle, but it's only a portion of the entire thing being flipped. So you could imagine that once we get that data flipping attribute out, it's going to transition and expand to the full rectangle encompassing the entire element.
Yeah, I slowed it way down so you can see it happening a little bit during the expansion.
Oh, nice. There you go.
Yeah, so that's a really cool approach. I don't think we've done specifically that before. We've done clip path animations, but we haven't used it for expanding content with flip in that same way. Oh, and I broke it. Oh, gotta add a unit there. So yeah, that's really cool technique. We break down a lot more of the other stuff that's going on here. There's definitely a lot to this little animation, but it's made a lot simpler with flip.
Mm-hmm.
All right, will you do the outro bit there?
Yes. You can watch the full process of creating this animation for a deeper dive into each technique on the full live stream linked right below. Leave us a comment if you have any questions.
Yes, our show is supported by our sponsors, CodePen at codepen.io, CSS Tricks at css-tricks.com, and viewers like you. You can pledge at patreon.com/keyframers and subscribe to our channel for more great content. We've got plenty of links available below. And that's all we have for you today. So thank you so much for watching. Until next time, adios, amigos.
Adios.